Hello and welcome to NoCB, a grand strategy podcast. I am your host, TJ Hafer, and we have here with us our amazing panelists, including Lambert.
Hello there.
And including Father Loris.
Hello.
And our special guest this week from the EU4 MEIOU and Taxes mod team, we have, I forgot to ask you how you actually pronounce your username before we started recording, because I'm pretty sure Lambert's been saying it wrong this whole time. Is it Gigau?
Yeah, or Gigau.
Okay.
I mean, no problem. Hello.
Okay, so Gigau, Gigau, whatever you want to say, Gary Gigau.
Gigau.
Yeah.
Gigau would be the French way. Gigau is everybody else in the world.
Okay. Well, if you don't care, we don't care. So
We're gonna take it and we're gonna anglicise it.
All right, Gigsy, how are you doing?
Gigsy,
Actually,
boy.
the first time I went to a Paradox fan gathering in Cologne for Gamescom, and I went and introduced myself to Johan, Fred, and everyone. And I came, hello, my name is Gigau. And they say, okay, hello. And I say, I work on the MEIOU Taxes mod. And they went, oh, Gigau. Yeah, that's it.
I'd like to also point out I was not the first person to mention MEIOU Taxes today.
That's going to be one of our main topics. So I think I think you're off the hook, at least for this week. Oh, I need to tweet out that we're live. I'm swearing off voice meter for the rest of existence. If anybody else ever wants to figure out how that program works, you're welcome to. And we're live as I type it out and say it as I. Okay. Highly professional podcast, as always.
The highest professionalisms.
Before we get into the dev diary, and we'll talk more about the mod specifically later on. But Gigau, Gigau, Gugo, whatever we want to say.
Gugo.
How'd you get into the Paradox community, and kind of what's your history with grand strategy games?
How did I get into it? It was in 16 years ago. I was in the gaming session of a supermarket looking for a game to play, and I stumbled on the box for U2. And I looked at the back, saw the provinces, and it reminded me a game I was playing 2 decades before. Robin Hood, the Defender of the Crown on Macintosh. Black and white at the time. And they had provinces, and so I decided to pick it up, and I never left Paradox since. Let's say that in 2005, I was having some trouble with the U2 bug, and I discovered the forum to get the patch. And yeah, that was in May 2005, and I've been on Paradox forum community ever since.
Awesome. And obviously you develop mods for EU4. Would you say that's your favorite Paradox game, or do you have any others that you're really into?
No, I think it's my favorite. It's the EU series.
Gotcha.
I still got a fondness for EU2. U3 obviously, because I spent 6 years on it modding U3, and now it's U4. I love the other games except Hoi, with which I have I never managed to learn that game.
It's a tricky game.
Yeah. I still don't know how Hoi 4 is the only Hoi game I know how to play. Like Hoi 3 confuses the hell out of me.
Even Hoi 4, I still don't really know how navies work.
No, same.
I can kind of get them to do what I want sometimes, but it's mainly by accident. Anyway, we have a couple dev diaries to check out today. We thought we were going to be in this big dev diary drought, and then they dropped like 2 pretty hefty ones on us this week. And we'll start with EU4 showing off the changes coming to actually one of my favorite nations to play in all of EU4, if you guys saw my Great Southern Dynasty run on YouTube around when Mandate of Heaven came out, that was a really fun campaign. It's Ayutthaya, which is sort of the main Thai power in Southeast Asia at this point in time. They would eventually become known as Siam to the Europeans. And it looks like they're getting quite a bit of new stuff. Is there anything in particular you guys were excited about from this diary?
Well, Ayutthaya is like the central nation of that region. Like you've got your Ming to the north, and you've got India over to your west, and then you've got so many options. If you want to go into the Spice Islands, it's fairly easy for you to do so. You're way more powerful than, other than Ming, everyone around you. So it's good to see them getting a bit of love. And who doesn't love the white elephant?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anything that adds more mission trees. Just nice. Especially things that are historical.
Well, I guess they're going to have a Mandate of Heaven mission too. They didn't show us that. The bottom of their tree is kind of cut off. But apparently that is going to be part of their mission tree is seizing the Mandate of Heaven. Not saying that I'm solely and personally responsible for that, but I'm also not saying that. There's also that interesting populate Ayutthaya mission, which they said is kind of tied to mechanics they can't talk about yet, which, we talked a little bit about capital mega cities in one of the earlier dev diaries. I'm wondering, and this will be relevant to our mod discussion later, if they're adding maybe some sort of new way of modeling population that wasn't in the game before.
I can't imagine that they would, but everyone would like this, so they should.
Yeah.
They won't, but they should.
Well,
they should.
One thing I was really struck by, because I ended up booting up some Imperator this last week. I was kind of in between a couple of EU sessions, and I noticed that one thing EU4 really doesn't model hardly at all, except for colonists going over to the New World, is movement of people. There's a couple events for it with you're gonna lose one base tax in the backwoods and gain a base tax in the capital. But movement of people across borders isn't really modeled. There's a lot of migration that happened during this time period that we don't really see hardly at all. So,
especially with the Horde nations.
It's
just not a thing for them.
Yeah, just modeling. CK2 tried to do it. EU4 tried to do it. Modeling a nomadic horde in a map or in a game that is sort of based on land ownership is always going to be weird, because that was not necessarily how they saw the world.
I think it's pretty easily solvable, though. Just add pops, mate.
Easy.
Just add pops.
Easy to do. Just turn
so many things. Just add pops, mate.
Go to EU4.ini and change pops equals 0 to pops equals 1.
Yeah,
done.
Come
exactly.
on. It's just, it's right there in the code. Yeah.
See, all this time I thought MEIOU Taxes was some super in-depth, detailed mod with tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of lines of added code and stuff. No, you just changed one INI file, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. You just turn
hash,
mate. The pops are already there. They're already in the code. You just have to turn them on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're gonna get lots of missions based on dividing and subjugating their rivals. Their national idea set is very vassal focused, which I think will be interesting. It's especially with the new estate interaction, where you can have the powerful duchies privilege that gives you more vassal slots. I'm learning to love the vassal swarm. I've played some pretty fun vassal swarm games.
Vassals are really good.
Yeah,
since the last patch came out. I
wouldn't mind, but the AI always does stupid things that I don't want it to do. All the time. Constantly.
True.
My Congo game that I played all the way to the end date, and kicked the Europeans basically all the way out of sub-Saharan Africa. I would maintain my maximum number of vassals at any given time. Like, I'd conquer new ones and then integrate the old ones. And I found that was fairly effective, especially for fighting in a place like interior southern Africa where, it's the terrain isn't super conducive to like marching large armies across it. It's like, oh, I'll let my vassals handle that. There's something going on in Ethiopia, I'll let my vassals deal with that. And I'm over here, holding down the western side of things. But yeah.
I'll say that while there aren't too many military ideas here in this ISA, other than like manpower, which 25% extra manpower is nice, but there's nothing really for the military. But I will say, harsh treatment cost, getting 20% discount on that.
Yeah.
If you add that together with your age bonus, you're going to really be able to drop that number quite a bit. And then when you think the best way to get absolutism is just harsh treatment all the rebel peoples, it's going to be really, really easy for Ayatthaya to be quite strong in the late game because of that.
Well, getting absolutism now it seems to be a lot easier since they introduced the +1 tick from having basically by having huge crown estates, right? In all my games, I seem to have max out absolutism within a few years.
We're doing something very different then.
Yeah, you get like a +1 tick. So you get if you have basically all your crown lands, you get a +1 tick. Plus you get an increase on your cap, and then you combine that with like the +1 tick with the Splendor advance, and then basically you're getting 2 a year. So in 10 years you've got 20. Combine that with all the harsh treatment and stuff you're doing.
I think that they have made it too easy to get up to like 90% crown land. Like, I almost feel like there should be some sort of a mechanic where the less land the estates control, maybe like the harder they'll fight to keep it.
Yeah, I see that kind of thing.
Yeah, like the rebellions will be larger, and the loyalty penalty for seizing land at some point like goes up. Because by like 1650 or whatever, like almost every game I've played of this patch, like I have as much crown land as I could ever want without, and it's like, okay, maybe I had to kill like a little like 3k stack of noble rebels every 10 or 15 years, but it's never something where I'm like, oh no, I can't afford to click the seize land button because then I'm gonna have to fight a rebellion that's like the most pathetic rebellion that I've ever seen in the history of my country.
Well, for one thing, they put them as particularists, which have less morale than your troops.
Yeah.
And like the first time I was going to click that button, I was like, oh no, it's going to spawn rebels. Let me get my troops in position, like spread out around my country so that I can, deal with it wherever it fires. And then it spawned like a 3k stack of rebels, and I had like 40k next to it. I'm like, why bother? If you're gonna be like, oh, you might not want to do this because there's gonna be a rebellion, at least make it something to make me think for a second. Now I don't hesitate clicking the button because I know he's not going to spawn any kind of rebel that would pose any threat whatsoever.
Yeah,
like irrelevance.
That's one of our problems. Let's say we feel it's that sometimes it's too click on the button. There's not enough reactions to what you're doing. Like if you get rid of you transform everything into crown land, you're basically reducing the privileges of the nobles or whoever is in charge of the province, of the clergy or whatever, and they should really be mad.
Yeah. Well, like, revoking privileges should be, like, a huge deal that could plunge your entire country into civil war. Like, I almost feel like every time you revoke a privilege, it should be a stab hit or something like that. Like, it's just too easy right now. It's too easy to become an absolutist country.
1780.
I think there should be ways of reducing privileges that don't result in that, but it would cost you in other ways. If you want to reduce the nobles' right to do this thing, then they'll be really pissed off unless, say, okay, we're going to not let you do this anymore, but here, have a shit ton of money to make up for it. I could see that being a thing.
Well, basically, that's what Louis XIV did. He built Versailles to basically cut the teeth of the nobles. Yeah. So he didn't get that much of a stab hit, but he had to spend loads of money to keep the nobles entertained in Versailles.
Right.
If you want a little controversial example as well, when the British abolished slavery in the entire empire, we reimbursed the people who owned the slaves. So while we
still paying for
basically gave slave owners money and bought the slaves and then set them free, that's giving them a lot of money to take away a privilege that they had. And I guess that's controversial because we're giving slave owners money, and that's shit, obviously. But it abolished slavery in the empire, which is objectively a good thing.
I think every nation did that, to be fair. I think even America did that, didn't they? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure America had a civil war about it, actually.
Yeah, but I think also we had a civil war, but also reimbursed it.
I think our way was better.
That's the example of removing the same privilege, but without giving the money. You get a civil war.
Exactly.
It's true.
Yeah.
So I think on balance, we did it better.
I think on a solution, well, any way is good, really, But but like a good way of doing it. It's an interesting thing you can do if you're a Far Eastern nation is inward perfection. Have you ever used this one?
That's Stellaris.
No, it was inward perfection thing for the clergy in EU4, and basically it reduces your development costs depending on the amount of land that the clergy owns. Right. Now, I think that's really interesting because I think there should be lots of different things that are dependent on the amount of land that someone owns, especially stuff with like the bourgeoisie and merchants,
So it's an estate privilege that's unique to Asia?
Yeah, that's right, okay. So it's actually beneficial in a way. I don't think it's that powerful. It should be more powerful in my eyes.
Yeah.
Just to counteract I just want to have 100% crown land no matter what. I can think of maybe some circumstances where, nations were very powerful and we didn't have large crown lands. A good example, probably the Dutch Republic. Huge amounts of that was run by the merchant class. Still the most advanced, powerful nation, especially given its size, at the time, was the Dutch Republic, right? So
So maybe revoking privileges and even government reforms, like the fact that you just click a button when you fill up the government reform bar and it's like, we have a different government now, yay. I think both of those things should require you to like either pay a bunch of money to keep people quiet, or it should give you like a stab hit. Like that's the way you can reform your society with minimal or like negligible conflict, I think is a little bit unrealistic at this point.
I just don't think the maximum crown land thing should be just a flat bonus. I think there should be, say if merchant class owns a huge proportion of your lands, they should give you a bonus in a similar way that you get from crown lands. I just don't think it should be crown lands.
And they do. I think they do based on their influence. Like if they own more land, their influence goes up, and that gives you more bonuses. But usually, it's not worth it compared to absolutism.
Yeah.
So, there's stuff like I really do like the noble privilege where it will give you more manpower based on how much land the nobles own. I'd love to see more stuff like that. So
that needs to be affected by loyalty as well, though.
Yeah.
It's like if your nobles are really disloyal, but they have a lot of land, they'll still give you all their men for reasons.
For honor.
Yeah. Which, I don't know. I prefer the way that MEIOU Taxes does that. It's like, here, you can have these men to use in your war. It'll spawn the troops for you. And then after the war is done, you give those troops back. And if not as many return back, the nobles will be less than pleased about it.
Yeah.
Which I think is a pretty cool way of doing it.
And during the course of the war, you can ask, in MEIOU Taxes, you can ask your burghers to give you money. And the stronger they are, the more money they have, and the more money they're willing to give you for the war. And the richer the nobles are, the more men they have to provide to you. So if you have a very tiny noble group, they won't have much troops to offer you. But if you let them grow rich and be powerful, they can be a really strong force to help you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not objectively better to have mostly state land, and it's not objectively better to have mostly noble land. Like they'll both be good in their own situations.
Yeah, I think that's the best way of doing it. Not that I think the current system's bad. I really love the new estate systems. So.
I feel like the new estate systems are so good because, let's be fair, it did take quite a lot of inspiration from M&T. I think didn't Grugy actually just say that they did when he was on the podcast, just take inspiration?
Yeah, he said that he doesn't like. Well, he feels the mod is too complicated, but he likes some of our ideas, and he likes to pick and choose.
I mean, I would agree with that. I don't think MEIOU Taxes is for everyone. For instance, if you own a potato, or it's not for everyone, but for people who want just a little bit more depth, I think it's
a problem. I've
something
got
you
with
got to
MEIOU
experience.
Taxes. I love MEIOU Taxes, but it's so hard to get your friends into it because it's not like CK2 or something. Base game CK2 where you go, it's just a game you piss around in. Like MEIOU Taxes, you go, well, okay, you need to manage your lumber and also his pop dynamics and
Yeah, but you can also let the AI deal with as part of it. I mean, you can let the game. You have different layers. You can either, and this is why, and it's something that we are working even more on with the new version, is to have. So if you are playing a very small nation, you will want to delve deeply into it and check how to maximize your timber production or whatever, and you will want to micromanage. But if you start growing, you cannot. I think it's been a very, very long time since I've seen someone succeed in a world conquest in MEIOU Taxes. But if you start building very big empires, you will want to let the AI manage part of the economy.
Yeah, 100%.
I've only seen two people do it. World conquest.
Similar to,
Texas.
I mean, Victoria 2 was very similar, where it's like, yeah, if I'm playing as a fairly small nation, I can probably micromanage all of my industrial production manually. But once you got past a certain point, it's like, yeah, we're just going to let the capitalists do this. Yeah. Well, the other interesting thing from this dev diary that stood out to me is this Siamese revolution disaster that can happen when you have at least 50 relations with a European power who's active in Southeast Asia, where you can. It seems very similar to the Japan mechanics, where you can kind of go towards openness or isolation. Events will deal with the military, religious, commercial, and diplomatic power that Europeans attempted to impose on Ayutthaya. So it's kind of cool that they're getting their own little system for that. I would almost like to see that for like all large Asian nations that have contact with Europe. But this was a specific event that they're trying to model. So, increased European, especially French, imperial presence in Siam.
Those dastardly French, never trust them.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, coming from the perfidious Albion, I think it's rich.
Yeah.
Well, our food's better. So, moving on. Yeah,
sure.
Before he has a retort.
That's certainly a take. That is certainly a take.
It's a correct one. All right.
Yeah. Anything else about the EU4 Dev Diary before we pop over to CK3 for a bit?
Well, this touches upon still my main concern with this is how to get the Europeans involved, because
they'll just buy your province, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I always think the biggest problem at the moment still is there's not enough European presence in East Asia.
Are you having a giggle, mate?
No, I never seem to see it. The Europeans never seem to do it. In any of the games I have, you never get British India. You never get you never get the Dutch East Indies. You never get the Spanish Philippines. Never seems to happen for me.
I see it. I see it a fair bit, but I
see a lot of random shit,
and especially multiplayer games. Multiplayer
that's
games.
That's the thing. Yeah, you almost never see Britain own as much of India by 1821 as they actually did by 1821. It's usually split up between three or four different powers,
and
then there's always Jaunpur or something is still hanging around in the north. So it's I haven't ever seen India go in a historical direction in EU4.
No, I don't think I have either.
Yeah.
I think this is why I like the mission trees, because it does nudge people in that direction. But I don't think... I think at the moment there should be some things that happen to the East Asians just to break them down a little bit. It should be a disaster similar to the Ming, which allows those massive Indian blobs to break apart a little bit for the Europeans to exploit that.
Yeah.
Just needs more Europeans. Yeah. More Europeans in Asia. There we are. Don't quote me on that. In EU4, I should say.
That's the take.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's turned into fucking Rudyard Kipling over here.
British food is good.
Fucking road to Mandalay all this shit.
I mean, we can get into that British food is good thing if you like.
Okay, here's what I'll give. I will give you that the UK does some badass pastries.
Yeah.
And where did they plunder it from?
And I also do love
coming from a Frenchman. We're just talking about Southeast Asia.
And I do love a good.
We've been talking about India.
I do love a good fish and chips. I love going to a British pub and ordering a big basket of Atlantic cod and fried potatoes. That's always a good time.
No, I wouldn't say Britain's got the best food in the world. My national dish is lava bread, and if you look at lava bread, I mean, it looks foul. It tastes nice, but my goodness. But tell you what we do, and no one else does it better: black pudding. Black pudding's amazing, and you can never find good black pudding anywhere else in the world.
That's true. You can find it in Ireland, but it's not as good.
No, it's not as good. The Germans try it, but they do it rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, it looks vaguely sausage shaped, so therefore they should be good, but they're not.
No, they're not.
You know what we're really good at? Cakes of congealed blood. That's
yeah.
That's
no. What I will say, though, before we move on, because I feel like I do have to defend my nation's honor here. The stereotype of British food being bad comes from World War II, when American soldiers came to Britain in the middle of fucking rationing and complained about the food being bad. You don't fucking say! Rationing! Anyway, let's move on to something that doesn't get my blood pressure up. Diseases!
So CK3, we got a very visually interesting dev diary this week. It looks to me, maybe they've been eating their black pudding and that's why, but the character models look better every time they show them to us.
Yeah, they really
Incredible.
do. Oh my goodness, they look absolutely gorgeous.
We've still got some fingers clipping through the shirt here, but I don't think that the hair or the faces or the clothes have ever looked better.
No.
It really shows you that when they say in development, they mean, yes, currently actively in development.
Lighting, look at the lighting. Oh my goodness, that's so good. Oh my god.
The biggest thing that stands out to me is this guy is wearing satin, and it doesn't look like he's wearing a bin bag.
Yeah.
That's a massive improvement over the early images of the characters. Whatever they've done, whether it's to the lighting or whether it's to the clothes themselves or whatever, it's so much better.
Definitely.
Well,
and the embroidery like comes out through the shine and oh my goodness. Look, I mean,
and like
it's so good.
like you're saying with the lighting, I'm pretty sure that what they're standing on is just like a static painted background, but they light the characters in a way that makes it matches up with the light in the painting behind them, which makes it seem more 3D and more real, which is really cool.
Absolutely.
Although this fella here definitely looks floaty. There should be a more shadow right here, but it doesn't. I'm just floaty.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
But he still looks great, especially that beard. Like, so good.
Yeah, no, the
beard.
beards have done a really good job.
It's not the best beard of the Dev Diary, though. We'll get to that.
Oh,
there is a beard that is just incredible.
Yeah, so they talked a little bit. I don't think there was like a ton of brand new information in this Dev Diary. It was a lot of kind of illustrating things we sort of already knew about the DNA system. It has over 10 times as many different genes for every character, and you can, blend things together. It'll look at like the nostril width of both of your parents and like determine semi-randomly where your nostril width is going to fall in between those parameters. They could even have, maybe you had a grandparent that had really big nostrils and neither of your parents did, but that can still show up in you as a recessive gene, which is kind of awesome.
I hope there's like, proper things pre-scripted to regions. I hope there's like proper Roman noses and Greek noses going on, because I love that.
Yeah.
I love that sort of development,
Yeah, like they mentioned certain characters, like some of the main characters from like the 1066 scenario are going to have like specifically scripted faces based on, what descriptions we have of those characters. I'll be curious to see how far that goes and how many are just kind of randomized. Because I know early on in CK2, there were a lot of like attested historical rulers that just kind of had randomized faces. Like they looked the same every game, but you could tell that they had just been generated with a random face originally.
Yeah.
Obviously, they can't do everybody who was alive and all of the start dates. That would be an absurd amount of work. But
I mean, if you haven't seen, I think it was mentioned in the Dev Diary, but I don't know if you've seen pictures of Harold Andrade from coinage. He doesn't quite look human, never mind like proper like anatomy.
Right.
I mean, like, they weren't the best, these, medieval portraiters.
Yeah, not always. Not always.
No.
We got to look at a lot of different faces for different various ethnicities just to give you an idea of the degree of variation. Do you guys have a favorite out of this lineup here?
Well, this guy's beard is clearly the best.
Oh,
yeah. That is a magnificent beard.
Bottom right, that is an amazing beard. Yeah.
Also, I just want to point out this girl here. I know it's not true, but if pushed, I would have put money on this being based off somebody who lives in my town. Who the ex-girlfriend of one of my friends I used to work with. Spitting image. Absolutely spot on perfect, and it's creeping me out.
I was gonna say she's one of my favorites of this lineup. So
because it looks it looks like they've based it on a real person.
Yeah,
it's creepily good.
I mean, all these portraits look very realistic. It's not like
Yeah, they look even compared to the build that I played in April. These are looking like more realistic and less like kind of stylized, cartoony. So,
are there any that fall into the uncanny valley for you?
Weirdly, like I feel like the guy on the top left kind of looks like he's from a different game. Like it could be the lighting, but he almost looks like he came from a different graphics engine from everybody else in here.
You know what I think about that guy? Because he jumped out to me too. He looks like he's not from a medieval era for some reason. He looks like he's kind of clean shaven. He's got like a modern haircut. He just looks like looks like he works down co-op or something.
Right. There's also the like neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the left on the top row. The guy that like he looks kind of like Mongolian, but he has like a blonde long hair and a blonde goatee. I thought that was interesting, just because that's like not a combination of traits I've seen before. I don't think so.
And blue eyes.
Yeah.
It's like
but I guess that would be like the Sogdians or whoever were the Iranian people of the like northeastern Eurasia, like, or north central Eurasia or whatever.
I met like
Bessus.
When I was working out in Mongolia like a few years ago. I went to the north eastern Mongolia, and there's like Buryat tribes up there, but like they're blonde like that because it's a Russian influence, really. But yeah, they look
interesting,
like that, blonde hair, blue eyes, but Mongol features. Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
So I imagine there's like a lot of Central Asian steppe peoples like that, where Russian and Asiatic kind of meet, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and like all the territories of like the former Persian Empire, you'll find like combinations that we're not used to, because Persians, a lot of ethnically Persian groups are fairly pale, but then they also have been living in close contact with the Arab world and with Central Asia for a very long time. So
I think this will like have interesting consequences, say when like the Turks conquer a lot of Greek land, fingers crossed, and set up a proper Roman Empire.
Now that's the controversial statement of the episode.
Get out of here, Byzantipoos. It's the Ottoman time. It's Ottoman o'clock. But like, you'll see like, a blending of cultures and ethnicities, and it becomes much more of a melting pot, which I think is better than the CK2 system, where it's basically, if you have a mixed race couple, it's a 50-50 chance depending on what race the babies are going to be, rather than a genetic mix. It's cool. I reckon be interesting to see stuff roll out like that in the map, how different regions change as in ethnicities change.
Any favorites from this one?
Oh, which where is that in the actual dev diary? Is that from a different?
It's a bit below.
No, it's just a little bit down.
Did I miss a whole row of stuff?
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot to pick from in this one. There's so many like really cool characters. I really, really like that old like Mongolian lady who like looks like she's a proper spy master lady.
Yeah, I cool. I love this. Yeah, I love the steppe clothing. I love the Indian clothing.
Yeah,
the diversity,
like, the amount of detail they put into that,
and the diversity between all of them.
Yeah. Obviously, top left, that's another amazing beard.
Yeah.
The Indian guy 2 over from him, also an amazing beard.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'd say that this wins the beard contest of this particular sheet. It's a close run thing with this guy, this king, but the pointiness here, I think that just gives it a little bit of an edge. So I'm gonna award this guy best beard.
No, I think my favorite is the one on the right, second row down, the beard there, because he's got a proper Robert Baratheon vibe to him. He's got his big robe on, he's got his big crown on, he's got his big hairy beard. It's that combination.
If it was a bit more pointed. Yeah, like, it looks like this guy knows what a comb is, and this guy doesn't.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what happens if I try to grow my beard out too much. It just goes everywhere. Like there's no stopping it. So
if I try and grow my beard out, it looks like the Mongolian guy down the second bottom row, where it doesn't connect properly. It just looks like a sort of neck beard plus mustache.
Yeah.
The one nitpick I would have is on the right third row, the turban that the guy has seems a little high. But it would be only nitpick.
Oh, I see him. Yeah. Yeah, he's
this guy here.
I can't see your cursor right now on the stream. Okay, there we go.
He's like that's like a Berber. I don't know. Kind of looks like Berber clothing, but
I think that is. Yeah, I think he is North African. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what he.
I believe this is an Indian turban.
No, the Indian ones are more like
rounded.
like
they're more like
they have that
spheres.
like they have that point, like they kind of come to a point, almost like a widow's peak.
Yeah,
in the
that one
middle.
and the blue one
Yeah.
on the same row.
Where did turbans come from then? Are they originally Indian or Persian or like Turkic or what? Where did that
I
fashion
actually
come
have
from?
no idea.
I know that when I was growing up, the Sikhs that came from India, they had turbans, but the Hindus didn't. At least in my region, Middlesbrough.
The origins of turbans are uncertain. Some of the ancient civilizations, such as ancient India, Mesopotamia, Sumeria, and Babylonia, evidently used turbans. We don't know.
Like a
We
bit
don't
of
know
all
who
of
the
them,
OG turbans were. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Apparently, the Byzantine army was still wearing them from 400 to 600 AD.
Well, yeah, but the Turks introduced them to Byzantium, right? They became quite fashionable because, as the Byzantines waned and the dominant culture in the area became more Turkish. Turkish fashion was quite big in late Byzantium.
Interesting. Yeah.
Take that. Another strike to the Byzaboos. Yeah. Ottoman time.
Mate,
Loris is just trying to start a fight.
he is, and he's going to lose. Well, I mean, he's already won because, I mean, the Roman Empire is no longer here and Turkey is. But having said that, red is a better color than green, so don't care.
Yeah, I mean, like, what colour's the Turkish flag then?
Someone called Basilian Beelzebub here having a stroke. I feel you, buddy. I'm with you.
One of the other really cool things we got to see in this dev diary is we got to see like the full range of the aging progression for a single character.
Yeah.
Which like I hadn't even seen a character get old enough, but apparently they actually start getting like shorter and more slumped in old age, which is kind of interesting.
It's me
Toddlers. Go for it.
It's me from the age of 0 to now. Like developing into a disgusting blob.
Yeah, toddlers still look kind of weird and creepy to me. I think there might be some more work we could do there, but
I mean, aren't all toddlers?
The eyes of the first row.
Yeah.
Are a little
Like if this is from the Demon Child event, then that's fine. But if this is just a normal kid, he does look a little bit creepy.
Yeah, he's got like a bit of Japanese horror movie vibe going on with him, doesn't he? You see him in a corridor with the castle of attack.
but it's still impressive.
Oh, man. Yeah. So that'll be cool to just be able to watch, these characters age gradually. I think that's one of the coolest things about CK3, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was to nitpick, I think they shouldn't be growing a big mustache. I think teenagers should have a proper knacker mustache where they try and grow when they're 16.
Yeah.
It's like sort of bum
They're trying
fluff.
too hard.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
if they have the ambitious trait, they try to grow like some facial hair.
Exactly.
Teenagers.
Now what they're doing is they're gluing their hair suddenly gets a little bit shorter, and then they get like glued on hair onto their chin. It's like, oh, I wonder how you got that.
Then they also showed off some of the different body types, which is not only going to be like fat versus skinny, but you can also be like ripped, like this.
Channing Tatum, anyone? Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Chad Mustache Man over here. Apparently, it's based on your character's prowess, which is their personal combat skill, will determine how ripped they look. So we gotta have our Crusader hunks. That's
I guess prowess also determines jawline.
Yeah, it does.
maybe. I don't think your jaw actually gets bigger the better you get fighting. I don't think you can do reps for that necessarily.
Jaw reps.
Surely reps for your jaw would end up with you looking more like this fella.
Yeah. There is that ad I keep getting on YouTube for that stupid rubber thing you're supposed to put in your mouth.
I get that
work out
too.
your jaw.
My goodness.
It's like, yeah, so maybe he's been doing some of that.
Can we get a sponsor for this podcast?
Yeah, exactly.
I was sponsored today, that weird fucking chewing thing that's always on YouTube.
No one's going to
really
sponsor
like
us if you keep saying the Roman Empire dying was a good thing.
Well, it's because they didn't use the product where they could chew this thing. You know, if they chewed a bit more on this rubber chew thing, we would
What
have
would have
Byzantium
happened if
today.
the Roman Empire had 5 gum?
This is how the
Alternate
Ottomans did
History
it.
Hub, get on it. This is your next video.
They rolled down through Persia into Constantinople, all the way chewing these little rubber things. That's how they did it. Mehmed
Janissaries
had
weren't
a
disciplined.
jaw.
They just had the gum.
I did, yeah. My goodness. Mehmed just knocked down the Theodosian walls just with his chin. That's how he did it.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
The two center one are realistic and so creepy.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I loved when I saw these 2 portraits, because I'm working on Shadow Kings, which is going to be a vampire mod for CK3. I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. Like, it's just like if you have the vampire trait, you just look sullen and emaciated and like half dead. Perfect.
Not
It's
a whole lot
already
of
there.
calories in blood.
Yeah.
Well, I hope this is like
Just
tied
give
to the
him like
diseases.
white skin and he's nailed it.
Because, like, you know, to me, these look like they're very malnutrition, but they also look like, you know, they've got some sort of disease, like, you know, maybe liver failure or cancer or something, some serious disease that causes them to lose a lot of weight, you know? So hopefully it's tied to that. Fingers crossed. Pretty cool.
This woman doesn't like you, probably because you didn't feed her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that icon does mean that she's scared of you, though. So your dread is high enough that she's at least not plotting against you currently. So
Because I'm not giving her any food. That's what she's saying.
She does look hungry.
And then we have a nice little GIF down here of the fig leaves that will be covering naked characters, which could have saved many of us who played the preview build from being scarred for life with the weird low poly dongs that they had in the in-development build.
Man.
There's still a screenshot that Fraser Brown took floating around somewhere of that monstrosity if you want to look for it, but I would recommend that you don't.
So is there going to be dongs in the game, or
there's
is this optional, the leaf? And if so, is it tied to the genetics? These are very important questions.
Genetic leaf.
Yeah, does the leaf change based on
Where you
Is it regional? You know, like
yeah. So
if you got a really big one, it's like an Indian palm. Like
saving everyone. I will say, I'm sure that if you pause this GIF at exactly the right moment, at some point it is Lord Farquaad.
probably.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's the combination of the hair and the face. It's just
This is me during lockdown though. Like my goodness.
This is
And then
him
we
just
also,
getting more ripped. Yeah, this is some people during lockdown where they just eat everything in the house, and this is some people in lockdown where they're like, okay, I'll take the opportunity to exercise more.
Yeah, so I'm
also,
exploring just how many chins I can grow. That's what I'm doing during lockdown.
And then we also got to look at what dwarfism, gigantism, and albinism actually look like.
Yeah. Well,
which is really cool. I can't wait to breed it.
Ignoring
I can't wait to breed a giant dynasty.
the bottom middle guy has got real Chad energy. Ignoring that, the albino trait it's spot on, isn't it? I mean,
Yes,
you know, it's not over the top. You know, like a lot of people do albinism. You know, it's actually just looks like albinism.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not like big, you know, looking like, you know, the poison Pikmin from Pikmin 2. You know, like a lot of people do albinism, but yeah, perfect. Brilliant. Good stuff. Love it. Also, dwarfism looks great too.
We're also getting confirmation from Meneth in chat that you can be an albino dwarf.
makes sense.
Agamede's asking, what if you mix giant with a dwarf? I have no idea.
We've all seen Infinity War, have we not?
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah. I would be curious to know if you could mix those traits. Like if you can get someone who is very tall but has like dwarfism facial features or something like that.
Meneth says that giant and dwarf are mutually exclusive.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I would figure. And we have probably the chonkiest character I've ever seen down here.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah.
I mean, there's damn, and he is the big chungus. But at the same time, we can't just skip over the garden gnome.
No. I mean, Dragamon, he's cool, but yeah. Damn, that's actually pronounced damn.
Oh,
that's how you say that.
He's very stubborn, as one would expect.
I don't know, he looks like maybe he's Moroccan or something like that. And then we have
He's from wherever he wants to be.
he's from everywhere. He's so big that like one of his feet is like on a different continent.
I hope he gets a combat bonus for being that hefty, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I would think so.
You can you put him in an army like a heavy tank in Hearts of Iron, you know?
That's kind of how knights work in CK3. Yeah. So if you made him a knight, he could definitely
That's it, yeah.
He could definitely get it done. And then we have our sort of semi not safe for work portion, which is showing off diseases and injuries.
Oh my goodness. This is my favorite bit. I mean, it looks so grotesque. It's wonderful.
This one's kind of incredible. Like it just looks so badly beaten up.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, that's for wounded. But if you think back to CK2, whenever I got the trait wounded, like personally, I'd want it because then it turned into scarred, which was just an objectively good thing.
Yeah.
But wounded, like I could consider that just like, oh, I've got cut in the arm and then like something that would require stitches today. I don't really imagine that his face got into a blender. That's a bit more wounded than just wounded, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like tiers to wounds. He looks like, it just looks like he's just been hit directly by a horse.
There are tiers of wounded, Meneth says. Perfect.
Sweet. Cool. That's all right.
And I assume this guy is of the tier had a bad night out.
Yeah, he got a little bit too drunk and fell flat on his face.
After his team lost in the football.
Yeah. Now what I'm curious
Just a
is
Millwall
like,
fan, that's all. So we look normally.
Will the scars they get later match up with the actual wounds that they had?
Oh, that would
when
be
they
interesting.
Had the wounded trait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the portrait system is just, I mean, it's gone from strength to strength. If you think of what it was in CK2 with just an image and then you paste on the different, this is nose 1 and nose 2 and nose 3 and all that kind of thing, to then you got Imperator and the way that was a massive step up over CK2, and now this is just honestly it's bloody impressive.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I really like it.
Yeah.
Now with diseases.
It's not just that he's got cuts and stuff all over him. He actually looks like he is in pain.
Yeah, it does. It looks, you get sympathy pains from just looking at this guy. So, oh my
Sammy
goodness.
is saying something very true. And if you think CK1.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I try not to.
Yeah. I mean CK1 portraits, by today's standards, they just kind of almost look like a kid's drawing.
I mean, even if you look at the beta stuff from CK2, you know.
Yeah. That's what I say though, yeah.
I have fond memories of CK1. It was beautifully ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are definitely games like that. Well, I do want to get some time to actually talk to our guest a little bit more. So the last two images we have here are we got some more diseases, which they have a spoiler warning on. So you may want to turn the video off if you don't want to see gross stuff.
Cowards.
But before we go into that though, who do you think is who here?
I mean, left is definitely Harold Hardrada. That definitely, that's our boy right there. I think Harold Godwinson is the second from the
one.
left.
Yeah, because I think that mustache and hair combo very Saxon.
Is I can't tell which one of them is William. Is William the middle one?
Did William have a beard? I thought he was clean shaven. I would have assumed William was.
I don't think this is definitely Godwinson. It could be William. He's got the fleur de lis on his brown, but
The expression on his face just tells me that's Harold Godwinson.
Yeah, I think
He's
that's
like,
good.
oh, fuck face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it isn't. I've usually seen William depicted with facial hair.
Well,
but-
this is what came up when I looked for Hardrada, which does have the fleur-de-lis. In fairness, that's
Oh, yeah, but that's totally Victorian stained glass, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like none of these people.
Now, if you look at a contemporary coin, I don't know if we can quickly grab like a contemporary coin of Harold Hardrada. I mean, it's very hard to work out if that is a beard or if it's a sort of strange growth on his face, if it's even a face at all.
I can pull that up. Let's do that, and this is what he looks like. I'm imagining that these are his teeth. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's kind of doing a duck face, that or he's like chewing on 2 hot dogs.
He looks to have a Habsburg
now that we've got
chin.
the context of this image, clearly this one here is him. Spot on.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I like Hardrada, how Hardrada looks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's definitely got the best beard, I think, of the Dev Diary.
Oh yeah, and hair.
Yeah. Oh, it's just phenomenal. It's peak human.
This is what peak male performance looks like.
Yeah, I mean, until some French bastard comes and does things to your country.
My favorite is the mustache.
I only say it because you're here.
Yeah, I know.
And I also say it because I believe it.
I know.
All right, shall we show some disease?
Yes, let's
right.
show the disease
right.
portraits real quick.
Let me pull up a picture of William the Bastard then.
See if you can diagnose these people. I know the 2 on the right, I think, are leprosy.
Well, I think, yeah.
The second one from
massive boils part of leprosy.
No, I think the left 2 would be more the plague, wouldn't they? With those boils.
So the right 2 are Black Death, sorry, not left 2. Well, the left.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, because those are.
This is measles or smallpox.
Second from left is smallpox.
Third might be
Third
leprosy.
is leprosy. Yeah.
Third might be what?
Leprosy.
Could be. Yeah, he looks kind of like stone faced. He's got some kind of a skin condition.
Now
this one is clearly he walked through a cloud of mosquitoes.
Now I think that one's
confirm.
measles. I think that is measles. The first one is quite a difficult one. I'm not quite sure what that would be.
I would say just plain hunger. I mean,
no, because she's got a knackered up like lymph things around it. So I don't know.
Right.
Lymphoma. You said lymph, and that's the only disease I know with that in it.
Well, it could be just like it could just be cancer.
Could be chickenpox.
Could be. Well, she looks also like really malnutritioned at the same time. So something that has lots of weight loss and something that I don't know. I don't know. I ain't no doctor.
We've got 2 people who do biology here.
Yeah,
and neither of
I'm
you.
a biochemist. Damn it, Jim. I ain't no doctor.
I'm a doctor, but not that kind. If I could have a microscope and a sample, maybe. But
Yeah,
it's
have some
too high level.
pixels.
It's too high level.
Yeah.
If it ain't molecular, I don't give a shit.
I just like that the 4th guy looks like he doesn't give a shit. Like he looks like he took like an explosion and like shrapnel to the face, and he's just like, yeah, what else you got?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Clearly, one of the symptoms of the Black Death is delirium, because these both look happy.
They do. Like they're like, we have the plague, but overall things are going pretty well.
I will say, definitely followers of Nurgle.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be really playing into the hands of people who want to make Heimnisnacht for season 3.
Definitely.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway, that's our dev diaries for the week. But since we have Gigau here, I do want to talk about
quick thing before we move on. Do you think we could like wear a mask? Like if you're a leper, you could wear like a proper mask, like what's his face from Jerusalem?
Yeah, I mean the Jane characters in CK2 had the little face coverings. So
when you lost a nose, when you were disfigured in CK2, you got a mask as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Anyway. Interesting.
This one's actually clearly COVID.
COVID.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on from CK3 disease to modded disease.
Yeah. Well, first off, for people who don't know, what is MEIOU Taxes? What is the goal of the mod, and how is it different from vanilla EU4 on like a basic level?
Oh, wow. MEIOU Taxes is a what do we call a content extension mod. So we try to keep the same base ideas, so to speak, but build on it to add more content, and especially we try to have a more historic feel, more historically plausible. And so it was born in the EU3 days, where MEIOU was a mod which was aiming to do that with flavor, so map and things like that, and which was started in 2007 on the release of EU3, and Death and Taxes, which came a little later, which aimed to do about the same thing with mechanics. And when EU4 got released, we decided to combine and have the best of both worlds.
And Lambert, if you want to go back real quick to that map, I just want to point out that I immediately like this mod just because South America is in the right freaking place. They have not moved South America like 1,000 miles north like it is in vanilla EU4. That's actually where South America is. Yeah.
A couple of years back, we changed. Before, we were using basically the same map projection as vanilla. And then, I don't want to say something stupid. I think it was Bitharcasm who released a mod where he rearranged, and he allowed us to use his the background to make
awesome.
our map.
You know, I'm just going to out myself. Well, I'm hardly outing myself as an idiot. That's probably widely known by now. I didn't know that South America was so far south of Africa. I'm looking on Google Earth now. My goodness,
if your only idea of what the world map looks like is from playing EU4, you might be surprised how
the real world looks. My God,
far out of place those continents are.
Yeah, Uruguay is the same latitude or longitude. I forgot which one is which.
Latitude like ladder.
Yeah. Yeah, like even the very northern tip of South America is basically lined up with sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah.
And then it goes way further south. Like Tierra del Fuego is way, 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 way south of the Cape of Good Hope. So yeah.
Huh.
Province density is just extreme compared to what we're used to. I mean, even zoomed in, there's very difficult to make out bits of Germany, and was it called Tra-Évêché? That province?
No, it's not there. It's in France. It's eastern France. It's
it's around here, but it's still like the worst.
No, it's not the worst. It's the
worst.
best.
It's the worst.
So how does a typical game of M&T play? You know, that would be significantly different or surprising to somebody who's played a lot of vanilla EU4.
Oh boy. How to summarize? So you have a better map compared to now Saxony-Thuringia, which is the darkest spot that you can see in the middle of Germany, has been simplified because there was a problem of density of provinces in the HRE. So as I said, it's more difficult to create a world conquest because you have what we call, which I think they're adding more or less. If you sometimes hear me say some things a little weird, it might be some French words coming in. So usually it doesn't happen, but when it sometimes happens. You have communication efficiency, which has a huge effect on your local autonomy. And the further away you are from your capital, the worse it gets. And you have to create ports to increase this to get the best of your provinces. On the other hand, that money doesn't just magically. We try to neither have, and there's something that we're trying to improve. Because we are about to release a new. We are working on the new version, v3.0, which we aim to let some content creators release some, lift their embargo on August 1st.
Yay.
It's no
Awesome.
magical money appearing, no money disappearing. So the money that you don't get in your provinces because you have large local autonomy, let's say, it's your estates that get it. And with that money, they will be able to develop your provinces, for example. So you still get that. That's why what I was referring earlier when I was talking about the AI, so to speak, helping you to develop your country. You don't have to micromanage everything, because your estates will want to build a few things.
I like that a lot. I feel like the fact that provinces don't develop on their own in EU4 unless you specifically go out of your way to click a button to develop them is probably one of my least favorite parts of EU4 as it stands right now.
And here our goal with our new version is to go, because we still feel that even if we try to model things with money that you don't get being still reinvested by the estates, are still working too much with some abstractions. But we are moving towards a more simulation. So we will have an industry and which will work all by itself with the different goods. Which will, generate income. You will have trade, which will basically each node, so to speak, will be its own market, in which you will be able to trade goods on a local scale, but then be able to distribute it to the other nodes, which will allow you to, without being a great producer of a good, of any particular goods, will be able to still become wealthy, because you will act really on the trade more than on any production.
You could be, Holland or something, not actually produce that much, but basically, dominate.
Or the maritime republics in Italy.
Yeah.
So building your wealth on trade wealthy. Then.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it's cool.
Also,
it's really cool.
This green province here, all these little green specks. This is all one province. It's Trois Évêchés. That's the one.
If you want to say it, 3 bishoprics.
I mean that's accurate to what the borders actually looked like at the time.
Oh, exactly.
I know.
Germany was just border gore, or the HRE was just border gore central. So so if somebody who is maybe like a regular vanilla EU4 player sees this and gets a little bit intimidated, what both of you, Gigau and Lambert, who do you think is like a good nation to start as for your first M&T game?
Do you want to start or shall I? Because I've got a solid, I think, suggestion.
Go ahead.
Anything in Italy? Well, Milan,
Naples.
Florence, Naples, Sicily, any of them. You're not having to worry as much about building an economy, about like your population is already fairly reasonable, especially for your size. Your density is really good, your education is really good, and so these are parts that you don't have to worry about when you first start playing, and you can just worry about the other parts of the game, like murdering your neighbors and stealing their wealth.
Castile would be a little tricky, I would say. The Ottomans remains also the proper Rome Empire.
Yeah. I agree.
Or you could be Chad Baller and play the Empire of the Romans.
They are weaker, smaller than in vanilla, I think. But yeah, I know Basilius Leon.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is not 1444.
No,
correct?
sorry. Yeah, we start in 1356. For the moment, it's December 25th, 1356, which is the date of the signature of the Golden Bull. I don't know how you pronounce it in English, which marked the transformation of the Holy Roman Empire from it is represented basically in CK and how it's modeled in EU4.
Got it.
Now, the big thing I would say to like new players is that each nation has got unique units too, right? So this is probably the biggest thing I got from a new player from MEIOU Taxes. Is so, for example, if you're playing England, so if you're playing France, probably watch out for England because they've got longbowmen at the start of the game, and those longbowmen are incredible.
Yes, they are.
Now, why am I not surprised that you are the one to know the longbowmen?
I just love a Welsh longbowman, you know.
It's basically England's favorite pastime is taking what the Welsh do, making it better, and saying it was our invention.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's trains, making it better that really counts.
For example, like Richard Triffitt invented the high pressure steam locomotive in South Wales. Who's known for the
George
steam locomotive?
Stevenson.
Yeah, it's
George
Stevenson
from Middlesbrough that got that train running nicely.
Exactly, yeah.
I think one of my favourite examples of the unique units, though, is the Fleet from Holland.
Yes, which really allows you to dominate.
Really, really bloody good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if you're playing a multiplayer game where you're England and there is a Holland player, just buy his fleets. Just give him money for him to make the boats, and you buy the boats.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people were paying the Dutch to build boats for them.
Time. Yeah, it makes 100% sense because those it's like an extra 50% trade per ship.
One of my favorite little things about the shipbuilding tradition in the Low Countries is that I think it was the Danish sound toll where they would charge based on deck space of the ship. So they figured out how to make these like really weird looking, like kind of bulb shaped boats that had very small decks, but like very like much larger cargo holds. So they wouldn't have to pay as many tolls, which I thought was really funny.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah. It also looks. Is Sweden split up into Sweden and Gotland?
No, it's not Gotland. Well, for the moment, it's called Sverige, which is the Swedish for Sweden. It's basically a civil war between Eric Magnus' son and Magnus Eriksson. Magnus being the father and Eric the son.
I love that, though. Between Eric Magnusson and Magnus Eriksson. Like, come on.
I
No,
can't
the way
event,
that
I
I
can't
have
event
my
that.
name around is better.
Yeah,
love
it would
it.
be like a U.S. Civil War between like John Robertson and Robert Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what it
And
was? It wasn't
There's
actually.
another country as well that's in a similar situation. Castile versus Trastamara for the War of the Two Peters, I think it is.
You know what it is? It's all the vassals of the king swore fealty, but by accident they swore fealty to the wrong ones. You know, and the nation was split up
these
that way.
names, I can never keep them
Yeah, and
Exactly.
together.
And
Mixed up in the
that's
post.
that Castilian Civil War is part of. So yeah, you have the darker shade is Trastamara, which is the contender. And you have Aragon supporting it, and historically, you had France supporting Trastamara, and obviously England supporting the losers, the previous Castile. And so you have to resolve this the civil war.
And if only England won, you wouldn't end up with Enrique.
And
Blame France.
and for and for Sweden, it's the opportunity. So you have, if you look at the map of Sweden, Scania, the Scania region, belongs to the two Swedens, and the father, Magnus Eriksson, who owns the darker shade, the dark blue, had a treaty with Denmark to saying, if you come and help me against my son, I'll give you back Scania, which is historical. And in the mod, basically, when you play Magnus Eriksson, you get, at the end of the Civil War, you get an option. Do you renege on the treaty, or do you abide by it? And if you abide by it, you give back the Scania provinces to Denmark, which allows a historical outcome. And Denmark being
So
able to get...
There's one other civil war that I completely forgot as well. Blois, I think, which is this one, versus Montfort,
Yes.
which is like part of the 100 Years' War.
Exactly.
England supporting one side and France supporting the other.
Yeah, well...
If you're playing as England, you've got the opportunity to like fully integrate France in this war. It's great.
Well, we're ignoring like the biggest civil war at the time. If we shift to the east, the fall of the Yuan dynasty and the rise of the Ming dynasty. That's at the start of the game.
I think this big blob up here is Yuan, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
And then
that would be
Ming
fun. Oh,
is this one, the yellow one?
Ming is
the Yuan
should
is
be-
the big around the Gobi Desert, and Ming is a yellow. On blue, it's the Song Dynasty.
Should get the Song Dynasty back. Bring back the song.
yeah.
Man.
Everything was going great.
So it's been a long while
and then
since
the
I
Mongols
played
attacked.
MEIOU. I love playing in China normally. Is the fall of the Ming dynasty like modeled at all? Like now, I remember there was not really a way of having the fall of the Ming dynasty and then the rise of the Qing.
So I don't know the status because, as I said, v3.0 is still a work in progress. But we had indeed possibly cyclical disasters, which made not the Ming dynasty, the dynasty that won the initial war has to struggle to keep the China unified. And we have another civil war. We have the Japan.
Of course, yeah, it's a Sengoku Jengai. I mispronounced it.
Sengoku
Jidai.
Jidai.
That's it.
Sengoku Jidai.
Sengoku Jidai, yeah.
Have you not
No, this is-
played
this is
enough
bef-
Total War Shogun?
Well, if this is 1356, this is before the Sengoku Jidai. This was
Like,
the Onin War?
I don't give a shit about fucking samurai warriors and all that crap. Japanese history starts at the Meiji Restoration. Before then, fucking boring. It's like
It's not
Sorry, are you not
old
talking
bendy
enough about
swords and shit.
your love affair here?
Let's see. It was the Muromachi
Tibet, yeah.
period. So, yeah, I don't know specifically which civil war that was, but
And Lambert is trying to give it.
Nanboku Cho. Apparently.
yeah, I mean, it was the establishment of the Ashikaga shogunate, which is the shogunate that is in power in 1444 in the vanilla
Yeah.
start date. So,
that makes sense.
yeah.
Followed by Oda, I guess, and then Tokugawa. And then
Yeah.
finally, history starts with the Meiji Restoration.
No, that's when history was over.
Oh, man.
That's when the good times were over.
When it became boring.
Brilliant. It's brilliant.
They took away all the swords.
Yeah, exactly, man. There's no more bendy swords. It's all Gatling gun time. You know? It's way cooler. You have the Satsuma Rebellion, you know, fucking... What's his face comes along, makes a movie about it.
Tom Cruise.
We
spoke about The Last Samurai last week. We can't keep regurgitating.
Is Tom Cruise's character from The Last Samurai in this mod? Because otherwise I'm not.
Oh my goodness. Is Billy Connolly's character in it? Because the thing about that, he spends the entire movie talking in a Billy Connolly Glaswegian accent, and halfway through the movie he says he's Irish. And it's like, what? Hold up a second there, Billy.
Well, he wouldn't be the only one. He wouldn't be the only one with a strange accent, given the character he's playing.
That's true. I don't think Billy does anything.
The intended audience of that movie wouldn't know the fucking difference anyway. So
panning over to this part of the map for no.
I just like had a look at the tribal situation. You know, it's something we haven't spoken about yet.
I don't know if you've ever seen Monkey Dust.
It should all be colorful.
For those, but for the moment, we don't have those nations anymore, at least in v3.0, because of a feature from EU4, which is necessary for EU4, which is to clean up when, flags and variables in a province, when it becomes empty. It wrecks some of our features, so we can't have nations who migrate, because obviously when they migrate, they go to the other province, they empty, and then it's cleaned up, so we lose. Because in the mod, one of the big things we have is populations, as I think that Lambert might have hinted to a couple of times. So we have...
Oh, what are these? Populations? I don't know what you're talking about, mate. It's like...
So in the province, you have urban population, rural population, elites, and so on. You have several trade goods because we've decided that, heck, why limit ourselves to one trade good when a province could produce several without impact on performance. And so that in the new world, if the province, the nation migrates, this creates some issues in our features.
Oh,
yeah.
Lambert, can you go over to the far western edge here? It's another thing that I'm noticing that I really like already, or that I think I'm noticing. Enhance. Okay, go west, further west.
How much more
west? Keep going west.
How much west? Are you looking at Hawaii?
As far west as you can go.
This is as far west as I can go.
There we go. Playable Hawaii. Come on.
Oh, there. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Paradox. Give us some Polynesian tags, please.
Okay. I don't know if it's...
I want to eat Captain Cook. God damn it. Come on.
I don't know if it's still there.
Here as well.
We had Tahiti at some point. I don't know if it's still...
I don't know Tahiti, if this is Tahiti, but there's a tag here.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah. It's still there.
Tahiti should probably be playable. Tonga should probably be playable.
Yeah, make Tonga playable.
Should be playable.
But to be fair, they don't have much to do.
Yeah, it's better than not having them playable, though, I think.
I think they should be playable just because they're
World Conquest with them.
Yeah, just because their rugby team is so phenomenal for what it is. Like, Tonga is a tiny island, and for some reason their rugby team is just absolutely incredible. It could just beat so many nations.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, they remember the CK3 dev diary. They did exactly what I was talking about doing. They just bred a dynasty of giants.
That's true. Yeah. They've spent the last millennia custom making a population.
Yeah.
Of rugby players.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. we're gonna have to get going here in just a second, but where can people download the latest playable version, and what version of EU4 do they need to check out?
So for the moment, and it will be still a little longer, the case, it's EU4 1.29.6. The latest of the previous patch. For the moment, we still have some trouble with the compatibility with 1.30. Unfortunately, so I'm in contact with Grugy and with Alfred to try and see if we can find some solutions. Because for the moment, the current version and the new one that we're developing are quite really stable with 1.29, but we would like to update it. So the current version 2.52 is available on the Paradox forum in the MEIOU Taxes section. We have it also on Steam. We have a community Discord, which Lambert linked to, and since yesterday we have a YouTube channel for when we will be posting some videos.
Awesome. So August 1st is when people might start to see some stuff from content creators.
Yes. So it won't be a finished version. There are things that are still missing. I'm still working on. So we have working on religious minorities, because we in our system we have religious minorities. Each province can have up to the main religion and 5 minorities, up to 5 minorities, which will evolve with time, with depending on the impact of the clergy, of outside pressure, of things like that. So the version that the content creator will have will be obviously an alpha version of the mod with a number of features still missing.
Got it. Lambert, what have you been up to lately, and where can people find your stuff?
I've been playing some EU4, playing some Ottomans and some Pope. On Sunday, I will be doing a pre-game going live stream of a game called Imperium's Greek Wars on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in some indie game Greek war stuff, then that might be something you might want to check out. And that's all on my YouTube channel. And
excellent.
Then, maybe next week I'll talk about a bit more about Imperium's Greek Wars.
And Loris, I know you've had some interesting stuff come out since the last time you were on the show.
Yeah. So it's a project I've been working on for a good while.
Died? Is that just me?
Oh. No, I think mine's fine. I believe
it might just be.
Yeah.
No, it's not. The stream seems fine. I guess I'll just talk for them because unfortunately we can't hear TJ anymore. I don't know if we can hear Loris or Gigau.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
It looks
I
like
can
it's
hear
having a bit of a wobble. So if you can just hear me, then Loris is doing things with Humankind. So you should go and check out Humankind and Amplitude on Twitter. Because Loris did a quite wonderful event for them. I can just pull it up here, I guess. You can see Father Loris's art all over Humankind, which myself and Enigmatic Rose got a chance to play last Friday. We're going to wait until Rose is back before we have a chat about that. And you can find his stuff here. There we go. I don't know if they're going to come back or not. It'd be nice if they started working again.
Yeah, I think
Discord,
I think
why
we
do you
can
have
all
to be so silly.
I'm gonna ping Lambert
for
in chat.
TJ, he is on Twitter.
All hear
and
each
there's
other
his link there.
and you.
He also streams on Loresworn Order. He will probably be singing later today if you're interested in hearing his dulcet tones. And
I'm
finally,
actually not streaming today.
Keep up to date with the NoCB cast on Twitter and on Soundcloud, then here you go. Oh, Lost One Order will not be streaming tonight. That's a shame. That is a shame. Well, there's the NoCB casts. If you want to see those as well. I think I've brought this stream up quite nicely considering the difficulties I've just been put under, but there you go. Can anyone hear me?
Yeah,
we can all hear you.
We can hear you.
Can these guys hear me or not? Are they just listening to the stream?
We can all hear you.
He's back!
And each other. I just think you can't hear us.
I can hear you now.
Oh, there we are. Fantastic. Brilliant.
Please
Yeah.
do the rest of this
anywhere.
for me. I'm done.
Yeah, that whole time we could all hear each other and you. I just don't think that you could hear us. So we were just laughing the whole time.
Oh,
You
great.
did well. Subscribe to the podcast. Maybe go leave us a review on whatever podcast app you use. It helps us get seen more. I think I got an analytics thing that we actually hit the top 1,000 arts and entertainment podcasts in Norway and Thailand.
Yeah. Shout out to all the Thai
iTunes.
viewers.
So our fans in Norway and Thailand, you're doing the right thing. Everybody else needs to step up your game.
Yeah. In fact,
leave some
you know
leave
what?
some reviews.
Everyone
leave us
else-
some stars.
Yeah,
Stop
YouTube
listening.
is.
I want this to be
we
a
don't
Norway
mention YouTube
exclusive
here.
No, you can't ever come back on the show if you say the word YouTube.
You have to have Norwegian
anyway.
or Taiwanese citizenship to listen to this podcast. Actually. From now on.
And
No one else allowed.
yeah, we'll see everybody back here next week.
Ta.
Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.